ShinRobjira.
The Bandai Limited Movie Monster Series Varan 1958 figure is finally here, and man, what a feeling. Bandai's never really made a major rep for Varan across all of their many series, alive and dead. This is the first time he's received a vinyl rep of this size, and I think the only other thing Bandai did with Varan was probably just that Gachapon, which coincidentally has more paint than this thing, but we'll get to that in due time. On Varan's tag, we have a lovely image of Varan himself with his name, Godzilla 2022. On the back of said tag, we see Bandai Namco, Bandai Movie Monster Series, Godzilla's store, I think. And we see the little cutout design over here around Varan's spikes. Opening the tag up, we've got a silhouette of Varan and some other stuff in there. Now, since this lovely gentleman is of the Godzilla store exclusive variety, you already know we gotta double sleeve him. So first we hit him with the penny sleeve. Make sure you get the little holdy-doldy up in there. And then we get the top loader to seal him away and keep him nice and protected. These spikes are nicely painted. The spray effect doesn't really hit too bad with Varan over here. And much to my surprise, both sides remain pretty dang clean. This is actually wild. He does have a little bit of a spray magoozer going on his forehead over here, but everything else looks pretty prime. The eyes are nice and glossy, which might just be the paint. The teeth are painted relatively well. Both sides of Varan's face are going to look pretty friggin' good. And just to give you all a better look at the teeth over here, look at that. They're even painted on both sides, although the other side is more of that glossy inner mouth paint. The white paint on the teeth was done fairly well. I'm surprised. And he's got a little lump in his mouth to signify his tongue. Now, the only other things that will be painted on Varan over here are going to be his toes on his front legs. And unlike the promo shot, my copy actually ended up with not so bad nails. They're not chipping at the bottom, which is nice. And yes, there will be no paint on his hind legs whatsoever. At this point, I guess it's just something we should expect with the land crawlers. And that's pretty much it when it comes to Varan. Everything else is unpainted. And that's quite a shame, because since everything else on this figure was so well painted with such loving intent, it kind of bums me out that the whole thing didn't receive some splash of color. Look at Gormaru Island's fan edit of the very first promo shot we got of this guy. This looks so much better than what we got. And then you have the likes of this Gachapon, which actually has some yellow paint on his shell around his body that actually brings forth some of those lovely details. A Gachapon has more paint than a full Movie Monster Series release. That's funny to me, it is. Now, I don't know what in the actual fluck was going on with YMSF's Varan. I mean, he looks cool, but he also kind of looks like a very spiky fetus. But even then, there was different highlights of paint. There was like a weird like little shading effect going on with that guy, and this guy could have used that. And then you have the likes of X Plus doing what they did with their big old Varan boy, and just, god damn it. For a Godzilla store exclusive, inflated price, blah 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 proxy service, this guy deserved more. And to further twist the knife, look at the recently released X Plus Defo Reel Varan. This is what I'm talking about. But enough with the comparisons. As far as paint goes, what is painted, I am going to give a solid star. Because what is painted very well, and it looks nice. But for the overall presentation of the figure, he still looks like a piece of fried chicken. Unseasoned spiky chicken. He's gonna get an X as well. Let's take a look at detail, because god dang, this guy's got a lot of it, and it's all very good. Moving into such... Oh, Jesus Christ, it's you! I forgot you existed! You know, something like this would have gone a long way for you there, Bandai. Maybe not this exact thing, but a two-tone color app going on with Varan? That would have been great! Sheesh. I'm sorry. Detail is Varan's bread and butter, because he has so much of it, it's actually ridiculous. Just look at that head, it's so spiky and layered and weird looking. Just look at that kind of adorable face, what the hell?
He even got nostrils, bro.
Yeah, Varan's quite the handsome fella, if I do say so myself. And I know I really shouldn't be surprised when it comes to the detail on a Bandai Movie Monster figure, because that's the thing that Bandai always seems to get right. Oh hey, look! A random spurt of silver paint. You were so close, Bandai, yet so far. Down to the root of his spikes to his very tumor-esque looking skin, this is just fantastic work. Honestly, I'd really like to know Bandai's process, because Jesus, dancing flying squirrels. This is awesome. This is friggin' great, dude. Before we move into anything more interesting, here is the bottom of Varan's tail, and he's got bumps and grooves and creases all around, all the way to the tip of the tail. The bottom of Varan's feet are wrinkly and kind of bony looking, but it's more so when we get to the thighs over here in his underbelly, where Bandai's detail game really begins to shine. Folds for his flying squirrel's skin wings. Ugh. Creases, bumps, grooves, the whole 9 yards. It is all here on this figure. And even the flying squirrel skin wings over here are really, really nice looking, and I'm surprised they were included at all, although I really shouldn't be. Articulation spoiler, but it's nice that they are actually part of the arm and the torso at the same time. Really makes me wonder if they would ever consider doing a flying version of Varan. I'd buy it. I know a lot of people would. But in talking about the arm, just look at these friggin' arms, man. Varan is jacked. And the amount of details on these arms, hands, and fingers and such is quite impressive. And no matter the side or angle you really look at these things, they just look really, really good. And again, very muscular and weird. Yet again, Bandai does an immaculate job with the detail. And that continues on into Varan's hind legs over here. As you can see, we've got some frills over here, which I imagine is going to be part of this, I think. I've seen Varan's movie like all of once, and I forgot it after a couple hours, so I Google image. Yeah, close enough. Musculatures, bumps, grooves, creases for the suit, even the weird way that the foot is placed. It's just so friggin' nice looking, man. And ironically enough, this does look like a chicken leg. A fried one, not a live one. And all of that same magnificence is going to be seen on the other leg as well. I knew I'd be impressed by the detail. I was just a little too focused on the lack thereof paint with this guy upon first reveal, and thankfully enough, Bandai delivered when it comes to the detail and the paint to a certain extent. And what can I say? I'm happy with it. As far as details go, I am going to give this figure a solid star because it is perfect. Now, let's move on over into articulation. See you back here in a couple seconds. There will be nothing at the head, although it's obviously glue sealed, so if you want to take that chance, by all means break that glue seal. Same for the tail over here. I'm really trying. The front arms can go all the way around like so, and when you push them back, they do kind of stop over here. This part of his fleshy little shell and his arm wingies over here do collide, but you know, as long as you go the opposite way, you'll be just fine. But the best part about that is there's no paint to scrape off over here. I guess that kind of works out for itself, huh? Same thing on the other side. Now, as far as the hind legs go, of course, they're able to go all the way around. There might be a little bit of resistance. There certainly is with my copy, but it is nice to know that these things are adjustable. And I say that because these nails over here worry me, so I kind of want his arms to be as far out as possible. And it's nice to know that I can kind of have these at an angle like such. So when I put him down, I don't have to worry about the nails touching the bottom of a shelf and possibly rubbing off over time. I'm going to give this adorable little piece of Cluck You chicken a solid star in terms of articulation because, well, he's got 4. I really would have wished the head or the tail moved, but hey, Bandai Movie Monster Series glue seal. Moving on to size comparisons. Yeah, I'll continue to be a stickler for a tickler about these limited movie monster series releases and their lack thereof decent paint. But I will not deny that this is a pretty dang good Varan figure. Something tells me the Godzilla store and Bandai are going to team up for a better painted version at some point in time. Now that they have a mold for him, I mean, anything is really possible. Who's to say we won't get a metallic version of Varan for his anniversary if Toho remembers to celebrate it? The detail is fantastic, and like I said before, what is painted very, very well, and that's a pretty big deal, especially for white paint on a Movie Monster Series figure. Anybody who's dealt with white paint like this on a Movie Monster Series figure, you know this shit is just prone to rub off in shipping almost effortlessly. I wouldn't be surprised if some of my spikes started rubbing off after this review. But again, aside from that little shadoozle with the paint, this is a great figure. It's a great way to add Varan into your collection without overspending on a Defo Reel or an X Plus or some weird vintage retro Varan figure that nobody's heard of and people are still charging a couple $100 for on eBay. I'm not alluding to anything, I'm just saying that might be a thing. And before I end this video off, one of the reasons why I'm so hard on Godzilla Store exclusive figures and their paint jobs is just because they've gone all out for paint jobs on these limited movie monster series figures before. Here's one of them. I don't know, man. I wish they kept that same energy for Varan as they did with this heavy paint application Shin Godzilla figure. They painted him all the way through to the tip of the tail, gave him a crazy friggin' paint job that looks pretty cool by my eyes, and with Varan they kinda just they kinda did the bare minimum over here. And Varan's staring at Shin Godzilla's cock. I don't know why. Just another case of, could it have been better? Yes. Am I happy with what I got? Yes. A lot happier than I thought I would have been, to be completely honest, but it's still going to bug me. This is an exclusive figure. Why isn't it at least fully painted to the tip of the tail? Anyway, I've been ShinRobjira. I do so hope you all enjoyed this review. Please check out my social media, including my Patreon, $1 a month, blah, 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 blah. I'm happy. I'm not extremely happy, but I'm happy to finally have my first Varan figure, and I'm hoping Bandai and Toho do something interesting and fun with this mold as the years go on, now that they finally have it. And who knows, maybe if this guy sells well, that'll help get the think juices going in Toho and Bandai's brains. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a new Showa Minya figure. Yeah, I'm ready. Come on, Bandai and Toho, it's time.